I was 18 when I started delivering pizza on the Graveyard Shift in New York City. Between 2 and 4 in the morning, the streets belonged to cab drivers, sanitation crews, and people who never seemed to sleep. On my first night, my manager gave me one rule that everyone else suddenly got quiet about. If an order comes in after 2 a.m. for Ashcroft Street, he said, don't take it. I laughed. Then, at exactly 2:13 a.m., the printer spat out a ticket for an address that shouldn't have existed. I was 18 when I started delivering pizza on the Graveyard Shift in New York City. Most people think the city never sleeps. They're wrong. It sleeps just enough between 2 and 4 in the morning to feel abandoned. The streets emptied of tourists and office workers leaving behind yellow cabs, sanitation crews, delivery trucks, and the handful of people who wandered the sidewalks with nowhere obvious to go. Steam drifted from manholes. Subway trains rumbled beneath my tires. Every few blocks, I'd pass someone standing alone on a corner, staring at nothing until my headlights washed over them. It was eerie. But it paid. I graduated high school a month earlier and needed money before starting community college in the fall. Russo's Pizza sat on the corner of 10th Avenue and West 27th Street, and unlike most places, it stayed open all night. The owner, Sal Russo, had been making pizzas for nearly 40 years. He looked exactly how you'd imagine an old-school New York pizza owner would look. Thick gray hair slicked back, permanent 5 o'clock shadow, and a voice that could drown out the kitchen ovens without trying. My first night started like any other job. Sal introduced me to the cooks, the cashiers, the other delivery drivers. Everyone seemed friendly enough, though most of them looked exhausted from working nights. Around 1:45 a.m., the dinner rush finally disappeared. The ovens slowed. The phones stopped ringing every 30 seconds. One by one, the drivers wandered back inside carrying insulated delivery bags while the cooks leaned against the prep tables, grabbing slices for themselves before the next wave of orders. Sal motioned me over. Orientation ain't over yet. I followed him behind the counter. He pointed toward a laminated sheet taped beside the register. Don't leave pizzas outside apartment doors. Always count cash before you walk away. If somebody gives you a bad feeling, leave. I don't care if they already paid. I nodded. Everything sounded reasonable. Then Sal hesitated. He looked toward the rest of the employees. The entire kitchen had gone strangely quiet. Nobody was eating anymore. Nobody was talking. Every one of them was listening. Sal lowered his voice. One more rule. I waited. If an order comes in after 2 in the morning for Ashcroft Street. He paused long enough that I wondered if he'd forgotten what he was about to say. Don't take it. I laughed. Ashcroft Street? Yeah. I've lived here my whole life. I've never heard of it. You ain't supposed to. The words hung in the air. One of the cooks quietly looked away. Another driver shook his head without saying anything. I waited for someone to smile. Nobody did. So what is it? I asked. Some bad neighborhood? Sal didn't answer. Instead, he reached beneath the counter and pulled out an old city map that looked older than I was. He unfolded it, ran one finger across Manhattan. There. I leaned closer. There wasn't anything there, just a normal city block. No Ashcroft Street, I said. Sal folded the map closed. Exactly. Before I could ask another question, the wall clock clicked over. 2:13 a.m. The phone never rang. No one touched the register. Yet from the counter behind us came the sharp, mechanical whine of the receipt printer. Everyone in the shop turned toward it. A delivery ticket slowly curled out of the machine. Sal's face drained of color. Without looking at it, he whispered, "Don't touch that receipt." The printer continued feeding paper anyway. Nobody moved. The printer finally stopped. The delivery ticket hung over the edge like it was waiting for someone to tear it off. Sal slowly walked over. He didn't touch the paper. Instead, he reached behind the machine and yanked the power cord from the wall. The display went dark. The printer immediately whined to life again, still unplugged. Another inch of paper crept forward. I looked at the cord hanging in Sal's hand. So, that's impossible. No, Sal muttered. It's happening again. He finally grabbed the receipt and crumpled it without reading it. Back to work. Nobody argued. One of the cooks quietly tossed the crumpled ticket into the pizza oven. It burst into flames almost instantly. The room relaxed. Conversations started again. Someone laughed. Within minutes, it was like nothing had happened. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Around 2:40 a.m., another delivery came in. A normal one, West 22nd Street. Then another. Chelsea. Everything felt ordinary again. By the end of the shift, I convinced myself the whole thing had been some bizarre tradition they'd invented to scare the new guy. The next evening, I came in for another shift. The atmosphere was different. Sal wasn't behind the counter. Maria, one of the cashiers, looked up as I walked in. Sal's sick. What happened? He called an hour ago, said he wasn't coming. Food poisoning? She shrugged. He sounded terrified. That wasn't the answer I'd expected. The dinner rush kept everyone busy until after 1. Around 2, the shop settled into its usual rhythm. I glanced at the printer more than once. Nothing. I started feeling stupid for worrying about it. Then my phone buzzed. A delivery assignment. I frowned. Nobody had said a new order came in. I walked to the counter. Maria was staring at her monitor. I didn't enter anything. The printer was silent. No ticket. Yet my delivery app showed a completed order waiting for pickup. Customer. Cash payment. 1 large pepperoni. Address. 17 Ashcroft Street. Every hair on my arms stood up. Maria whispered, "Delete it." I can't. The button was gray, unavailable. Force close the app. I did. When it reopened, the order was still there. Now a timer counted down beside it. Delivery expected 18 minutes. Another driver, Tony, walked over. "What'd you get?" I turned my phone around. His face drained of color. Without another word, he reached into his pocket and pulled out his own phone. The exact same order filled his screen. Then another driver's phone chimed, and another. Within seconds, every delivery driver in the shop was holding an identical order for 17 Ashcroft Street. Nobody accepted it. Nobody declined it. The countdown continued. 18 minutes, 17 minutes, 16. Then, one by one, every other delivery vanished from our apps. The only order left was Ashcroft Street. Maria looked toward me. "You've got the newest account." "What does that mean?" "It means," she swallowed hard, "the system always picks the newest driver." Before anyone could stop it, my phone vibrated. The screen flashed green. Delivery accepted. I hadn't touched it. A navigation map opened automatically. A blue route appeared across Manhattan. I stared at it. Halfway through the route, a street slowly faded into existence, one that hadn't been there a second earlier. Ashcroft Street. Nobody spoke. The navigation route stayed on my screen. Blue line. Estimated arrival, 12 minutes. Tony stepped between me and the door. "Don't go." I didn't accept it. "I know." Maria reached across the counter and took my phone. She tapped the screen. Nothing. She tried closing the app. The route remained. She powered the phone off completely. The screen went black for 3 seconds. Then it lit back up by itself. The map was still there, same route, same countdown. Maria slowly handed it back. I've never seen it force somebody before. The room fell silent again. Finally, Sal's younger brother Vince walked out from the kitchen. He tossed me a set of keys. Take car 3. I frowned. I thought that thing was broken. It is. So why? Because no one wants you taking your own car. That answer somehow made even less sense. Outside, the old delivery sedan coughed to life after 3 tries. The dashboard clock blinked 2:31 a.m. The GPS mounted to the windshield had never worked. Tonight, it powered on by itself. The same blue route appeared. I hadn't connected my phone. The streets looked normal at first, late-night taxis, delivery trucks, steam rising from the pavement. A subway train thundered beneath an intersection as I rolled over the tracks. The route led me farther downtown than I'd ever delivered before. Then it told me to turn left. I slowed. There wasn't a street there, only a narrow alley between 2 old brick buildings. The GPS insisted, turn left. Against every ounce of common sense, I did. The moment my tires crossed into the alley, my radio erupted in static. The headlights dimmed. For a split second, everything outside the windshield disappeared into white fog. Then it cleared. I slammed on the brakes. The alley was gone. I'd emerged onto a street that shouldn't have fit inside the space between those buildings. It stretched for blocks in both directions. The pavement had become worn cobblestone. The modern traffic lights were gone, replaced by old green street lamps casting a sickly yellow glow. Parked along both curbs were cars I'd only seen in museums. Some looked like they belonged in the 1950s, others even older. Not one of them had a speck of dust. The storefronts looked untouched by time. Old barber poles, a theater with peeling movie posters, a pharmacy advertising 25-cent sodas. Every business was lit. Every window glowed. Yet the street was completely silent. No engines, no voices, no footsteps. Only the soft idle of my delivery car. I looked in the rearview mirror. The alley I'd driven through was gone. Behind me stretched more of the same impossible street. My phone chimed. You have arrived. Slowly, my eyes drifted upward. Mounted on the corner of the nearest building was a weathered green street sign. White letters, faded with age. Ashcroft Street. My stomach tightened. Across the street stood a 6-story brick apartment building. A brass number hung above the entrance. 17. As if it had been waiting for me. The front door slowly swung open by itself. I sat there with both hands locked around the steering wheel. The apartment building waited. Not a single sound came from inside. No traffic, no wind, not even the hum of electricity. Only the engine idling beneath me. My phone buzzed. Order delayed. Customer is waiting. The message disappeared before I could read it again. I grabbed the insulated bag from the passenger seat. The pizza was still hot. As soon as my feet touched the sidewalk, I noticed something strange. The air was warm, too warm, like stepping into a building with the heat turned up. The street itself smelled fresh. Not like rain, not like garbage. It smelled like someone had just baked bread. I crossed toward the entrance. The front door remained open, waiting. Inside, polished black and white tiles stretched across the lobby. Everything looked immaculate, not abandoned, not dusty, as though the building had been cleaned minutes ago. An old brass mailbox covered one wall. Every apartment had a name beside it. Every slot was full. None of the names meant anything to me. Then I noticed the dates. Small brass plaques beneath each mailbox. Moved in, 1956. Moved in, 1962. Moved in, 1971. None were newer than 1978. A soft ding echoed through the lobby. The elevator had arrived. Its doors slid open without anyone pressing the button. Inside, another delivery box sat on the floor. Old, sun-faded. The logo belonged to a pizza place I'd never heard of. The cardboard was stained almost black with age. I bent down. Printed across the side, barely readable, were 4 words. Property of Anthony Marino. Tony. The driver back at Russo's. His full name was Anthony Marino. I stared at the box. That was impossible. Tony was only in his 30s. This box looked decades old. The elevator doors began closing. I jumped inside. The buttons only went to 6. Apartment 3B. I pressed 3. The elevator climbed smoothly. No vibration, no cable noise, just silence. When the doors opened, a long hallway stretched before me. Soft jazz drifted from somewhere in the distance. Every apartment door stood closed. Every light fixture glowed with warm yellow bulbs. I found 3B halfway down the hall. Before I could knock, the door swung inward. An elderly woman smiled warmly. She wore a neat blue dress that looked decades out of fashion. "Oh," she said gently, "you're right on time." She looked exactly like any grandmother. Kind eyes, silver hair, a pleasant smile, nothing threatening. She reached for the pizza, then paused. "You must be the new driver." My stomach tightened. "New?" She nodded. "The last one never came back." Before I could answer, she turned toward the apartment. "Come in." From where I stood, I could only see part of the living room. It shouldn't have fit. The apartment stretched impossibly far into darkness, far deeper than the building itself. Rows of warm lights disappeared into the distance. People sat at tables, dozens of them, maybe hundreds, all dressed in clothing from different decades. Every one of them slowly turned toward the doorway, toward me. Not one of them spoke. Not one of them blinked. The old woman smiled wider. "They've all been waiting for their delivery." Then, somewhere deep inside that impossible apartment, someone called my name. Not loudly, just enough for me to hear. "Ethan." It wasn't the old woman. It came from much farther back, as if someone standing at the very end of that endless hallway already knew exactly who I was. Every instinct screamed at me to run. I backed away from the doorway. The old woman didn't follow. She simply watched me, still smiling. "Ethan," she said softly, "they're getting cold." The people inside never moved. Hundreds of faces. Children, soldiers, businessmen, construction workers, entire families from different decades. Every one of them stared at me with the same patient smile. Then someone stood, a young man wearing a faded red delivery jacket. The logo wasn't Russo's. It belonged to a pizza shop that had closed decades earlier. He looked no older than I was. His face was pale, his eyes locked onto mine. Slowly, he shook his head. "Don't come in." The old woman turned toward him. Her smile vanished just for a second. The room grew noticeably darker. The young driver suddenly forced a smile of his own, as though he no longer controlled his face. "Come inside," he said. His voice sounded wrong, like someone else was speaking through him. I dropped the pizza. The box hit the floor. Cheese splattered across the hallway. At that exact moment, every light inside the apartment went out. Silence. Then, hundreds of footsteps. Not running, walking toward the front door. I didn't wait. I sprinted down the hallway. The elevator was gone. Only a concrete wall remained. "No." The footsteps grew louder. I shoved through the stairwell door instead. The stairs seemed endless, floor after floor after floor. Every landing still read 3. I was still on the 3rd floor. Somewhere above me, a door opened, then another, then dozens more. The sound echoed down the stairwell, people calmly walking toward the stairs. I threw myself against the next exit door. This one burst open. The lobby. I didn't stop. I sprinted through the front entrance and dove into the delivery car. The engine was already running. I slammed it into reverse. The tires screamed across the cobblestones. The old street blurred behind me. Then the same white fog swallowed everything. My ears popped. The radio exploded with static. A heartbeat later, I was back in the narrow alley. Modern asphalt, traffic noise. The city had returned. My phone vibrated. The delivery app displayed one message: order completed. I looked into the insulated bag on the passenger seat. The pizza was gone. Back at Russo's, nobody asked whether I'd made the delivery. Maria simply looked at my face and knew. Tony quietly slid an envelope across the counter. Inside was a yellow newspaper clipping. Pizza delivery driver disappears after midnight delivery, October 17, 1978. The photograph showed the same young driver I'd seen inside apartment 3B. His name was Anthony Marino, Tony's grandfather. The old delivery box in the elevator hadn't belonged to my coworker. It had belonged to the man he was named after. The official report said Anthony was never found. His car was discovered abandoned in an alley downtown. The engine was still running. No pizza, no driver, no explanation. I quit before sunrise. I never drove deliveries again. Last week, I was sitting in traffic when my phone buzzed. I haven't worked for Russo's in months. I deleted every delivery app. Still, a notification appeared on the screen. New delivery available. Customer, 17 Ashcroft Street. Estimated time, 2:13 a.m. At the bottom was a note I had never seen before. Your previous delivery was appreciated. Everyone is waiting for dessert. Thanks for listening to Campfire Horror Stories. If you ever find yourself hungry after 2:13 in the morning, maybe make something at home, because some deliveries aren't meant to be completed. If you enjoyed tonight's story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another trip into the unknown. New horror stories arrive every week, and trust me, they only get darker from here. Now tell me in the comments, would you have accepted the delivery to Ashcroft Street? Or walked away the moment that order appeared? Until next time, lock your doors, check the address twice, and whatever you do, don't take the last delivery.